All right, let's switch gears and talk some baseball here. The question was, about Steven Kwan.
Yes.
So this time of year, MLB Network is doing their top 10 list at each position. And did you say that Steven Kwan was not in the top 10 left fielders?
No, so I was going to ask you who the shredder is, or
I think it's like their computer
It's their
system.
computer.
Yeah.
So the shredder, which I guess
we
is
overrate
MLB.
Steven Kwan.
I've said that
So
years.
Yeah.
did you see the fan vote? So
You
he
said
was
he was
not
number one.
So and if you want to pull up, it's at the bottom.
That's shocking.
The
You want the
shredder
fan vote, or you want the shredder vote?
The shredder vote first.
Let's see the shredder vote.
This is the MLB.com's the shredder. It's not a vote. I guess it's their
Yeah,
computer
it's a
system.
computer system. Yeah.
But this is the ranking of
All right,
their
so
top 10 left fielders.
how is Jarren Duran number one?
Duran's up there.
Roman Anthony's barely been in the big leagues. Cody Bellinger hasn't even played left field, but he's going to this year. Left field is a weak position. Jeez.
Alvarez is going to DH. He's not even going to play the field this year.
Yeah, Riley Green. I mean, Alvarez should be number one. He's the best. He's the best hitter of this list.
If he's healthy.
And Kyle Stowers had a great year last year. I mean, the fact that Marsh, who's a part-time player, is on the list. This is a bad list. Steven Kwan should be. As much as you and I agree, Kwan's is a little overrated. He should be on this list.
I mean, I would probably.
So
why is this list is weird?
So let's look at the fan vote then, because the fan vote is completely different.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the guys on the shredder are young players who haven't proven it. I think it's more a projection of what they're going to be this year.
I don't like that one either.
That's terrible. Kwan should not be number one.
No.
That's
Well,
wrong.
this is a fan vote.
I agree. I think Jordan should be one. I'd have Duran pretty high.
Yeah.
I would probably have Kwan around 4 or 5.
Yeah.
You have him over James Wood.
I'd rather have James Wood, but right now Steven Kwan's a better player than James Wood.
Bellinger.
But like you would if you asked any team, will you want James Wood or you want Steven Kwan? They'd take Wood.
They definitely take Bellinger. I would take Bellinger over Kwan.
All right, so guys that are no doubters over Kwan in this scenario. Jordan Alvarez.
Churio.
Would take Duran.
Riley Green.
So Green.
Alvarez.
Bellinger.
Duran.
Duran, yeah.
Roman Anthony? I know he only played a little bit last year.
To me,
this time next year, it'd probably be Roman Anthony.
Right, but I would have him ahead of Wood and Anthony. Stowers was fantastic last year. That's close. I mean, Ian Happ is just like a steady guy. He's a Gold Glover, too. He's like Kwan defensively. He's got more power than Kwan, but Kwan's better.
Yeah.
I'd have Happ ahead of him, too, honestly.
So he's in the bottom half of the top 10.
I said 4 or 5. He's probably more realistically 6
6
or
or
7.
7.
Bull may have him even a little bit lower than that.
Yeah, I have Kwan. I'd have him 3, 4. I'd probably have him 6th or 7th, yeah. He'd definitely be in my top 10, but...
and go back to the shredder real quick.
He's not number one.
So the shredder had him not on
The
here.
shredder didn't even have Shorio on there.
No, he does 9th. It's just hard to read.
I can't see that.
Yeah.
So the shredder didn't have him. Fanvote had him first. There's obviously some sort of disconnect between whatever the computer.
Well, a lot
system.
of it was off from the fans. I mean, Bellinger should have been much higher with the fans. Maybe people didn't vote for him because he hasn't played left field.
Maybe.
He's mostly been a center fielder, right fielder, first baseman.
He had a great year last year.
He has wild swings. Like he has years where he's great and years where he stinks. But I mean.
So he's a top 10 left fielder.
I would take most of those guys over Steven Kwan.
Yeah.
Right? Like I wouldn't, not Marsh, and I guess you could argue, I mean, really, I'd rather have any of those guys besides Marsh.
So 9 and up on this list, you'd have over Steven Kwan.
Not
as a better player, but you'd rather have.
Kwan right now ahead of.
How's Happ defensively? You watch him more than I do.
He's a Gold Glover also.
Oh, you did win a Gold Glove?
Multiple. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But he's not. He doesn't hit for as good an average as Kwan, and he doesn't steal bases like Kwan. But he steals some bases, and he's got way more power, obviously.
Yeah.
I think to me, Kwan should be near the bottom. Listen, Kwan is a flawed player. He's an interesting player. He's a very unusual player. It's strange. Like Kwan is way more valuable to the Guardians than he would be to a lot. Like you're not getting a lot for Kwan in a trade. You're not getting some huge. Nobody's given up a ton for a singles hitter.
Yeah,
And as great as he is defensively, he plays left field.
I think they had opportunities to move him at the deadline where they would have got a pretty good package for him, but I think that they set such a high bar on him.
Yeah, probably too high because, again, like he's not like. I know he's a better player than Luis Ariz, but look at the contract Luis Ariz took in free agency.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't understand why the Guardians can't just come to an agreement with Kwan. Maybe he's asking for way too much money.
It takes two to make a deal.
Because he is not going to get a huge contract.
He's never hit 300.
Never.
No.
That's unbelievable. He was hitting close to 400 a couple years ago, and he's never even hit 300.
I mean,
and I don't want to crap all over him because he is a good player.
I like Kwan.
And
He's
he
a,
means
he's
a lot
a good
to this
player,
team.
but he's not a star.
And with as bad as this offense is, it makes him look better than what he is.
It is. He's a good
Yes.
starting
Yes.
major league player.
Yes.
But he's a good hitter. He's not some like all-time great hitter.
Right.
He has no power, very good speed, very good defense, but he plays very good defense at arguably the least important defensive position in left field.
Yeah.
If he was a center fielder,
Which he should be.
He should be.
a center
100%.
fielder.
How much higher does his value go up if he simply moves from left to center?
It goes up. It goes up, but he's still not a guy. If you don't hit for power, you're never going to be in huge demand. It's really that simple. If you can't even hit like 15 home runs,
He could hit 15.
right? But he's not going to be a guy who consistently hits home runs.
Yeah.
He's not a power hitter.
I agree with that.
And so teams just don't value that much. He's a valuable player, and he'd be a better fit on a team that's loaded with power hitters.
Yeah.
Where you could have him lead off ahead of all these power
Traditional leadoff hitter, like from the 80s, and guy
right?
who
Like if you had
puts
him,
the ball in play.
yeah, if you had him
gets on
leading
base.
off for one of these great lineups,
Yeah.
Like Toronto or something.
yeah,
Toronto, the Yankees.
yeah.
So I knew I was out of order when it came to this conversation with you two. So I just did a little bit of research on like Steven Kwan left field ranks.
Yeah.
Now ESPN had guys in their left field rankings that were not on that list.
Yeah,
Like
who?
Schwarber, for example, who DHs but
He's
plays
a
left
DH.
field.
He doesn't.
So I'm putting that out
Well,
there.
Schwarber would be number one.
I'm putting that out there. So
Yeah.
so they had 20 qualified left fielders last year,
Okay.
and they cut it off at 129 games. But I know Schwarber didn't play 129 games in left field. So once again, grain of salt with these.
Yeah.
Out of 20 qualified left fielders, where do you think his OPS, Steven Kwan's, ranked last season?
This is American League only?
No.
No.
Oh, AL Ando?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I will say
20
let's see.
qualified.
His OPS was 740, right? What was it, Anthony?
705.
His OPS was 7. Oh, I think I was looking at his career OPS.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
705 is, I believe, slightly below average. I think the average now is about 710, 720, somewhere in that range. Yeah, 705. His career is 741, which is above average.
I would
Not
say
great.
he's probably 17th or 18th on that list.
Nah, I doubt he's that low. But I'm going to say 12th.
19th.
There we go.
You were right. Good job.
19th. He was there was 28 when you switched to home runs.
Yeah.
28 guys that qualified in left. Once again,
Yeah.
ESPN sorting.
Yeah.
He was 11th in home runs, 20th in RBIs, 5th in stolen bases, third in batting average. My conclusion:
Yeah.
bottom half of top 10, which makes me feel good that even my silly
yeah.
research
Yeah, I
came
don't
to
know
the
how the
same conclusion that you guys.
It's fascinating to the fans. Like, it's not like Cleveland's got a huge fan
No.
base.
Yeah.
It's fascinating that he ended up number one in the fan
yeah.
vote.
So where do you think the disconnect comes from? Because a lot of the vote is national too. It's not just.
I think he's a player that fans like because he
plays
reminds
hard.
them of old school baseball.
Yeah, he plays hard. He
He
hustles.
plays hard. He does a lot of the little things that fans miss. Steals bases, plays good defense, runs the bases well.
Saves a
Gets
runner
hits.
from getting
You know,
a
he's a
third,
singles hitter.
stuff like that.
It's funny
But-
because like Chorio was a top uber prospect.
Yeah.
Riley Green was a top prospect a few years ago.
Yeah.
Roman Anthony was the number one prospect in
Yeah.
in baseball last year.
Yeah.
James Wood was a top prospect.
Yeah.
So
So was Duran.
Kwan was not. So for them
Right.
for the fans to still put him over on name recognition in terms of prospects coming
Yeah.
up, Kwan would not be at the top of that.
Kwan
list.
was the least known guys of all these guys coming out of the minors.
Yeah.
Was Stowers a big name prospect?
Yeah, I mean, he got traded to the Marlins
Oh, he was a guy from Baltimore,
as
right?
part of the what was the trade? I think Trevor Rogers, maybe. I can't remember.
Yeah, Trevor Rogers.
But he had a magnificent season last year. He got hurt the last 6 weeks, but he was having
A really good year.
a really like an all-star caliber season until he got hurt. And so, yeah, I mean, a lot of those guys were high draft picks. Ian Happ was a first-round pick. A lot of those guys, Roman Anthony. So, yeah. Listen, in the end, Steven Kwan's a good player. The Guardians should be able to sign him. I don't understand why you wouldn't just, like, do a 5-year, like why they both wouldn't agree to a 5-year, $75 million deal. That's very affordable for both sides.
5 for 75?
Yeah.
15 a year?
I just don't see him getting much more than that.
What's he down to, 2 years of control?
Yeah.
I think you would be fortunate to get 3 years. Maybe you could get, because you could buy out one free agent year.
Yeah.
I don't think he's giving away, because I think he thinks he's worth a lot more than.
What is he going to get? I mean,
know.
I guess by then, maybe the money's higher. We'll see.
Yeah.
You want to give 5 $100?
Would you do 5 for 100 for Steven Kwan?
Yeah, I would.
I would do it if I were the Guardians. Ultimately,
The Guardians would not. I mean, look at how much they panicked on getting off of Jimenez's money, which was 22-ish a year.
Kwan's a
annually.
better hitter than Jimenez.
But the point is,
Yeah.
like, this is a whole. I don't want to go on this diatribe because I don't want to go there. One day I will.
Yeah.
But the Guardians would not value Kwan as a $20 million player.
Probably not, no.
But I think he could probably get 18 in free agency.
he's
from
not going to
somebody.
get a huge contract. I mean, listen.
Do you consider 18 a huge contract, though?
No,
No.
I don't.
Okay.
If he let's say by his last year before free agency, he hits 20 homers and bats 320, maybe then. But I don't see him doing that. I don't know, but we'll see what. It still wouldn't shock me if they traded him between now and the start of the season.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I kind of expected it. They got so close last year, I think, to trading him that I kind of assumed that he would be traded this offseason. I'm a little bit surprised he's still here.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about a trade. Because Kwan would actually be a great fit on the Cubs.
Always angling.
Would you,
Bull.
do, would you do Ian Happ for Kwan straight up? Like, does that work?
That wouldn't make sense for the Guardians because Ian Happ's a free agent at the end of the year.
Oh, okay.
But I think I would like Matt Shaw is the Cubs' best prospect. He was a rookie last year. He was terrible in the first half, but he was very good in the second half. I want to say his OPS in the second half of the year was over 800. The Cubs essentially displaced him when they signed Alex Bregman. Now, the Cubs have a few different guys who are free agents at the end of the year, so Shaw's going to kind of be a utility guy this year and maybe take over at second base, although I'd like them to re-sign Nico Horner, who's a very similar player to Kwan. But the Guardians would have to give up more than Kwan to get Shaw. But, like, I don't think it's going to happen, but I could see, like, the Guardians maybe trading, like, a good pitching prospect and Kwan for Shaw. Like, that would make sense because you'd have Shaw for either 5 or 6 years.
They don't have a ton of high-level pitching prospects right now.
Yeah, right. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's another hitting prospect.
Yeah.
Who knows? But, like, Shaw would make – like, Shaw's a guy who, for the Guardians – if you traded Kwan as part of a deal for Shaw,
Yeah.
Shaw could end up being their second best hitter next year.
Yeah.
He could be a guy that hits 30 homers and steals 20 bases.
I would imagine maybe at this point they hold on to Kwan and wait and see what you get from Valera and if DeLauder can stay healthy.
Right, yeah.
You're counting on guys who are never healthy.
And-
but
yeah.
if they establish themselves and you feel good about where
Yeah.
you're going, you can trade a Kwan at the All-Star break or at the trade deadline.
Right.
Or next year you're not going to get a ton, especially with 1 year left to control.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they are so desperate right now for
I can't believe.
consistent hitting.
Yeah. And they just have no power, no proven power besides Jose.
They are really
It's
counting
so
on.
frustrating.
They are really counting on DeLauder
Yeah.
and Valera.
Well, he's the surest thing
Tyvis.
if healthy.
Yeah.
But that's a huge,
huge if.
Like, Manzardo's a good player. He's going to be a good player.
I've
he's
heard-
going to be good, but
I've heard really good things about Manzardo.
Yeah.
And Angel Martinez.
Right.
About the offseason that they've had.
I just wish they would have signed a Eugenio Suarez for 1 year, DH him.
I know.
You know, I heard this. Somebody forwarded me something that they're looking at. Allegedly, the Guardians there's some free agent hitter. I can't remember now who it was. It's a guy who's a part-time player, but I don't know. I wish I could remember.